1941 began, Nazi Germany bestrode Western Europe with no opponent but England. It seemed at least possible that Germany might dominate the world. Hitler was on a course towards war. Speaking today of our lands and territories in Europe, he said, we look first and foremost towards Russia. Hitler's principal ideologist, Alfred Rosenberg, had already worked out his plan for the East. After the victory, all of European Russia would be settled by Germans and become part of the Third Reich. The people already there, the Russians, millions of them, would be killed or removed. Hermann Goering announced, this year in Russia, around 20 to 30 million people will die from starvation. The population of some nationalities have to be reduced. It was called the New Order. Hitler thought the Russian people had no choice but to accept it. But there was a choice, a grim and dangerous choice, and many took it. The partisan movement was born. Stubborn, outraged, driven by love of country and home, the streams coalesced into a flood of resistance. They made an oath.
Я, гражданин Великого Советского Союза, верный сын героического русского народа, клянусь, что не выпущу...
As a citizen of the great Soviet Union and loyal son of the heroic Russian people, I solemnly swear not to lay down my gun until the last fascist pig on our land is destroyed.
За смерть детей наших, за пытки, насилие и издевательство над моим народом, я клянусь мстить жестоко, беспощадно и неустанно.
For the burned towns and cities, for the death of our children, for the torture, the violence, and humiliation to which my people have been subjected, I swear to retaliate ruthlessly and tirelessly, blood for blood, death for death.
Overconfident, the Germans had not prepared properly for winter. Even less had they expected such savage, hidden enemies behind their lines. All along their supply lines, the Germans dug in. No Nazi was safe. The night belonged absolutely to the Partisans. By day, they made sudden, devastating raids. And then they vanished. In 30 below zero cold, the partisan bands roamed Belarusia and the Ukraine. At first, hundreds of them. Then, thousands. Ponomarenko claimed that by July of 1943, the Partisans had killed 300,000 Germans, 30 of them generals. They had destroyed over 3,000 bridges, over 1,000 tanks, nearly 500 aircraft, nearly 400 cannon, and 4,000 trucks. Germans entered the forest with caution. From time to time, they mounted expeditions to comb the woods. The outcome was usually the same. The partisans would fight, inflict casualties, and then slip away. Frustrated, the German SS burned neighboring farmsteads and the innocent old men, women, and children inside. Occupied Polotsk, site of an orphanage. The Germans had a plan for Polotsk. Word of it came to the partisans, and they acted at once. The German idea was to send the orphans to an experimental laboratory for use as human guinea pigs. The partisans evacuated the children far to the rear by the fastest means available. Their teacher, Valentina Ivanovna, still tells the story today.
Только мы сели в самолет, поднялись. Значит, слышим.
Just as we boarded the plane and took off, we heard shooting. I couldn't tell how long we'd been in the air, but suddenly we landed with a thud and bumped along the ground. There were 9 of us. One of the older boys, Volodya Shishkov, just about your age, jumped up and began shouting, "Valentina Ivanovna, our plane is on fire." We began rescuing the children, and when some of them got out, their clothes caught on fire. I remember well how one boy's coat caught fire. It was such an old and ragged coat. And the same thing happened to a little girl. We pulled them all out and began to help the wounded partisans we had with us. When we dragged them a distance from the plane, the gas tank blew up and the whole plane caught fire. Then we wondered where the pilot was. We started looking for him. About 30 yards from the plane, we saw him. Sasha Mamkin, terribly burned all over. Mamkin's hands were burned. His face was all burned. And he was dead. But we were alive. No, we'll never forget that pilot Mamkin. Whenever I remember him, I get upset.
Летчика Мамкина никогда в жизни не забудем.
In the occupied cities, many turned into saboteurs. They broke down communications, disrupted production, destroyed stockpiles, assassinated Nazi officials. Black borders were a daily feature of the local German newspapers. Wilhelm Kuba, Nazi High Commissioner of Belarusia, Hitler's representative in Minsk. Let their brains turn to ice with terror, Kuba had said, when they hear the name of Wilhelm Kuba. As High Commissioner, Kuba had been hangman and slave master, responsible for repressing acts of resistance, for supplying factories of Germany with a steady stream of cheap labor. One night, when Wilhelm Kube went to bed, there was a time bomb in it. Kube's executioners were members of the Minsk underground, Osipova and Mazenik. Mazenik was Kube's chambermaid. She planted the bomb in the high passes of the south, by the side of mountain torrents across the flat plains of European Russia, among the icy forests of the north. The Partisans began to claim their inheritance. More and more frequently, the Red Army and the partisan forces attacked simultaneously, the hammer and the anvil.